Hi Bobcats, it's Miss Lee, and today's lesson is on triangle angle sum. Okay, this is a property that states that the sum of the measures of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. If you add up all three angles in a triangle, the total will always equal 180 degrees. Why? How does this work? If you were to tear off all three angles and you were to put them together to make one big angle, let me turn this one around, you can see that together the three angles make a straight line. And we've learned that a straight line measures 180 degrees. So you can find missing angle measures by using this property. Here's an example. We know that two of the angles, one is 49 degrees and one is 47. We're missing the measure for angle A, so we can find it. Add the two angles that you know, 49 plus 47, 1696. And then subtract it from the 180 to find the missing angle. So we have to borrow 10 minus 6 is 4, 17 minus 9 is 8. So the missing angle measures 84 degrees. Now you can't just write 84 because that's a number, that's not degrees. You have to remember to put the little degree symbol. Let's try some more. Let's try number 1. Again, we know two of the angle measures, 37 and 84, so I'm going to add them up. And I get 121. Now I'm going to subtract that from 180. And let me borrow. And we get 59. So the measure of angle X is 59 degrees. Look at example 2. We're only given one angle measure. We need to find X, but do we know what this angle measures right here? Yes, we do. Remember, whenever you have that little box symbol in an angle, that means it's a right angle. And right angles always measure what? Exactly 90 degrees. So even though it didn't tell us 90 degrees, it had a symbol that meant that it was 90 degrees. So we actually know two of the angles. So let's add them up. We get 112. Subtract that from 180. Borrow. And we get 68 degrees. So angle X measures 68 degrees. If you go back, add all three angles together, you would get 180. So I want you to go ahead and do number 3 on your own. Pause the video. Once you have your answer, come back and check. Okay, did you get 115 degrees? If you did, great job. If not, let's check your work to see where you had your mistake. First thing you need to do is add the two angles that you are given. 40 plus 25 is 65. Subtract that from 180 and you get the 115. Hopefully you remembered to add and then subtract from 180, and maybe it was just a math mistake and you can be careful in the future. Okay, these are a little bit different. Okay, if you look at these angles, there are two that are missing, and there's no little symbol that means a right angle. But there is another symbol. On each side, these two sides, they each have one little tick mark or hash mark. That's because these are congruent. We talked about this. As long as they have the same number of little tick marks, that means that they are congruent. So if these two sides are congruent or they're equal, that means their two angles are also equal. So this one is 65, that means that C is also 65 degrees. So we actually do know two angles, don't we? So let's add them up. 65 plus 65 is 130. Subtract that from 180, and our missing angle A is 50 degrees. Now if you look at our next example, you'll see that there's a tick mark on all three sides. That means that it is an equilateral triangle. All the sides are equal. And if all of their sides are equal, that means all of their angles are equal. So if angle Z measures 60 degrees, that means Y is also 60 degrees and X is 60 degrees. You could actually go back, multiply 60 times 3, and it shows that it does add up to 180 degrees. So there are ways, sometimes you'll be missing more than one angle, and you have to look for those clues that will help you find one of the missing angles. Like here, we needed to know the fact that two of the sides were congruent, so the two angles were congruent. Here, it was an equilateral triangle. All sides are equal, which means all angles are equal. Okay, these are a little bit different. We take a look, we want to find what angle X is. But we know this angle is 33, but we don't know what this angle is. So look for clues. What else do you know? I know that the angle on the outside is 66. So what happens when I put the 66 angle together with the unknown angle right here? What does it make? Can you see it? It makes a straight line, a straight angle. And we know that straight angles or straight lines, they measure what? 180 degrees. So if this angle is 66, then we just need to subtract it from 180 to find this missing angle. So let's do it. 180 minus 66, borrow, we get 114. So this angle measures 114 degrees. Now we know 2 out of the 3 triangle angles, so add them up. 114 plus 33, you get 147. Now we're ready to subtract that from 180, borrow, and we get 33 degrees. So X measures 33 degrees. Okay, I want you to try this problem on your own. You're looking for the measure of angle R, which is this angle right here. We're not told what this angle is, but there's a symbol, and we are missing this angle right here. So pause the video, try to work it out, come back and check your answer. Okay, did you get that angle R measures 31 degrees? If you did, awesome job. If not, let's see where we made a mistake at. Okay, did you recognize that this little box means that this angle is a right angle and it measures 90 degrees? Okay, so we know 1 out of the 3 angles. Now we need to find one more. Let's look at this one. We don't know what this angle is, but we know if we put it with this 121 angle, what does it make? It makes that straight line. And straight lines, straight angles measure 180 degrees. So we can subtract this 121 from 180, get 59, and that's the measure of this angle right here. Now we know 2 of the angles, 90 and 59. Let's add them together. We get 149. Subtract that from 180, and our angle is 31 degrees. If this explanation went a little bit too fast for you, just pause the video, rewind it, and listen to it again. Okay, one other thing is that we can also write and solve an equation to find the measure of a missing angle. So we know that x plus y plus z equals 180. So this is an equation, and that's the equation you can write for any of these triangles. Look at the first one. Let's add them up. We have 17 plus 141 plus the third angle is x. It's the unknown, so we leave it an x. And we know that all together it's going to equal 180 degrees. Now we're ready to solve our equation. This is nothing new. We've done this before. The only new thing is that you have to make sure that you combine your like terms. Our 17 and our 141, we need to add those together, combine them, because they're constants. So when we combine them, we get 158 plus x equals 180. And now we're ready to solve. Isolate the x, which means we need to get rid of this 158, so we do the opposite. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. And when we subtract the 158, it zeroes out, and we're left with x. Now we subtract 158 from the 180. I'm going to borrow. And we get 22. So x is going to equal 22 degrees. Not too bad, is it? Let's try another one. Let me change my color here. Okay, let's write our equation. We want to add up all three sides. So we have all three angles. We have 53 plus 71 plus, this angle says 2b. And that looks weird, but that's okay. We're going to write it anyway. And all together, the sum should equal 180. So again, we want to solve the equation. First thing we need to do is combine our like terms. We need to combine the 53 plus the 71 because they're constants. And we're going to get 124 plus the 2b is going to equal 180. All right, now let's isolate the b. Let's get rid of this 124 by subtracting. Subtract it from both sides. The 124, 0 out, leaves us 2b. And when we subtract 124 from 180, we get 56. Now, you'll notice our equation now says 2b equals 56. But we need it to say b equals something. So we have to get rid of this 2. And the opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. So I'm going to write it kind of small here. We're dividing by 2. 2 divided by 2 simplifies to 1b, or just b. And 56 divided by 2 is 28. So b equals 28. Now be careful, because that's not the degree. Don't go putting 58 here. This is just what the value of b is. If you want to know what measure this angle should be, you have to multiply that 28 by the 2, and you get 56 degrees. All right, one last example. Go ahead and pause it and try this one on your own. Okay, did you get that z equals 9? If you did, great job. Okay, if you didn't, very quickly, let's go back through this. You're going to write your equation by adding the three angles. No matter what it says, that's what you're going to put in your equation. 47 plus 88 plus 5z, they're all going to equal 180. Combine our like terms. We need to add our constants together. 47 plus 88 is 135, plus 5z equals 180. Now we need to work on isolating the z. So we need to get rid of this 135, zero it out by subtracting 135. Be fair, what you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. So we're left with 5z equals 45. Now z is still not by itself. We need to undo this multiplying by 5. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Divide both sides by 5. The 5 simplify to 1z. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So the value of z is 9. Now, if we want to find the value of this angle, we have to go back and multiply 5 times 9, and that will give us 45 degrees. Nice job, guys.